If you're new to our channel, we'd love to have you join our little community. Just hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications. We promise it will be worth your while.
After Katie answers mom, my mom says, "Hello, my beautiful, wonderful, amazing daughter. I am so hoping that I finally have the 2 daughters that I always wanted now in this family. Can I presume that you want to stay Katie and you don't want to go back to being John?" Hesitation in Katie's voice. She answers her mom and says, "Yes, I want to remain Katie, but I don't know how to go about it. I need your help." This is when mom braces her new daughter and says, "I understand. We will go to the courthouse and we will do what we need to do to change your name and gender on your birth certificate. I know about your fake ID, but you have your purse, and that's how it all began because I found all your stuff at first. But I found dancers gaffing when I was putting away your clothes at Spark, and I had to find out why you would have such an item. This is when I used the laptop and I did research why someone like you would want something like this. This is when I came across information about preoperative transgender people and why they use this item or other items to suppress your male equipment, to give you a more feminine look on the bottom half of your body. This is when I found your secret file and I got to say, I just fell in love seeing your pictures and seeing my new daughter. It brought tears to my eyes to know that I was going to have my daughters that I always wanted. After finding this information, I went back to your room. As a mother does when she has that woman's intuition, there is more to you than what she found. That's when I started to search your closet. I found your dress. I found your shoes. I found your bra. I found your panties. I found your tights, and I found your purse when I first opened it. I was kind of surprised by what I saw inside of it. First, I saw the makeup. Then I spotted the tampons, and at first, I didn't understand why you would have them, but again, after doing some more research after I got done searching your room and finding everything, yes, I found your wig. And I found your fake female ID. We're going to take care of that, so it won't have to be fake anymore. And I have to ask what you really want, because when I change your name at the courthouse and your gender, you can never change it again. You have to promise me that I won't do it unless you can promise me that. That's when I say to my mom, "But what about Dad? Doesn't he have to agree to do this too?" This is where my mom says, "Don't worry about him. He left this house. As far as I am concerned, he's not welcome back into this house. He left on his own accord. He didn't ever give the reason why he left. I don't care what his reason was. It's too late for him to make it up to me. I will never let him back in this house. I have begun the process of divorce papers against him." This is when my mom says to me, "I will handle him. And he has no say if I want to change your name and gender on your birth certificate. He's no longer your father, officially, in my opinion. Yes, he did give birth to you, and technically he is your father, but he no longer my husband, even though the divorce papers are still being processed." With that said, my mom says, "Now I need to know from you, is this what you really want to do? Because this will be permanent because you will make this promise to me. Or this will never happen, and you will go back to being your old self and you will never dress again as a woman as long as you run in this house. But I can tell you when you turn 18 years old, you will be asked to leave my house because only women are going to live here. After that, I will have no men in this house." This is when Katie says, "Why did you come home early from Aunt Martha's?" This is my mom says, "I knew if you had the opportunity and I gave you the opportunity, you would take advantage of it and I would see and meet my new daughter. Because of what my research said, after all my research about preoperative transgender people, this is something that is not a choice. It is part of your soul and spirit. And I remember one of the things that I read about someone who is now a postoperative transgender person. When she was a child, her sister told her what she had between her legs was just a birth defect. It was nothing more than that. And that's what I want you to think until we can get you scheduled for your surgery." And sure enough, I came home early and you were out having a great time being a girl, and I can tell that you have because I see the shopping bags in the living room, and we definitely have to go through that because I want to see everything that you bought and what we need to continue to buy you. I don't want you borrowing my clothes anymore or your sister's clothes anymore. We will buy you a whole new wardrobe. You must make this promise. This is what you really want because once we begin, there is not going back. This is when Katie says again, "But what about Dad when he finds out? He's not going to accept this. You know how he was raised. I don't think he'll ever approve of this. I think he'll even hate me. This is when Mom embraces Katie once again and says if he does, then he's going to miss out on meeting a wonderful daughter in his life. Because I can tell you right now, once you have made this promise to me, you will always be a daughter in this house and nothing else and anyone in this whole family. If you have a problem with that, then they will not be a part of your life or my life or your sister's life. We will not deal with discrimination, and nobody in this house is going to reveal who you used to be. That will be kept a secret. And it will be totally up to you who you want to tell about yourself. I will never say anything other than you have always been my daughter. And your sister will always say that you have always been her sister. And we're going to say that you've been away and now you're back because you no longer can live with your father. We will change your school records so you can attend school, Katie. I will get the doctor to begin giving you your estrogen, hormones, and testosterone blockers, beginning until we can have enough time with the psychiatrist to evaluate you, to ensure that you are of sound mind. And this is what you really want. According to what I found in my research, you can get your surgery when you are 15 years old, and we're not talking about the orchiectomy surgery. We're talking about gender reassignment surgery. And you can also get your implants done so you would have a woman's chest. No more fake women chest form. They would be real, and they will be yours. And we will get your gender reassignment surgery as soon as your psychiatrist approves you. We will start researching for a surgeon. I am getting ahead of myself. You need to make this promise to me now. Or this stops and you can never dress in women's attire ever again while you're in this house. This is when Katie embraces her mom and says, "This is what I really want. Mom and I make this promise to you, and I make this vow to you. As long as I live, I will be your daughter and will no longer be your son ever again." This is when they both have tears in their eyes and they are so happy that this is going to happen, and Mom is finally going to have her 2 daughters in the house. Amy is still in the living room, just listening to this whole conversation and hasn't said anything. This is when my mom says to me, "Who this is that you have brought home with you?" This is when Katie introduces Amy. Amy introduces herself as one of the students that goes to her school. And she says to Katie's mom, "You don't have to worry about every Katie secret getting out from me. I'm going to say that John has gone away to his father's and he's not coming back. And that his sister that was staying with his father is now going to live here, and she asked Katie's mom. Would that be okay?" Katie's mom says, "Perfect. That'll work great." People believe that she was staying with my ex-husband and John wanted to move in with his daddy, and we made it permanent that I would keep Katie and he would keep John. I think this will work really well for Katie when she goes to school. "I need to ask you a favor, Amy," Amy says to Katie's mom. "What favor do you need?" "I need you to teach my daughter how to be a girl in every way possible. I don't want her slipping up. And having anyone harassing her because she's doing something that isn't very feminine. And we are going to the courthouse tomorrow, and I'm going to legally change her name on her birth certificate and also request for the gender change on her birth certificate. Hopefully we don't have to go to court about this, but I am prepared to do that if I have to." Amy says to Katie's mom, "Don't worry. I will teach her everything that she needs to know as quickly as I can teach." I'm asking though, can I have 2 weeks to work with her before she goes to school? I believe she will learn enough in 2 weeks where she can pass as a teenage girl, and I know that my friends will embrace her as one of the girls because I will never know the difference that she was never a girl. Katie's mom says that would be great. I can do that. I will give you 2 weeks to train her in every way that she needs to learn every feminine mannerism as much as you can. It is vital that she passes as a girl at school. I'm going to get the doctor to write a note saying she cannot participate in any gym classes until after we can get her final surgery completed. This is when Amy says to Katie's mom, "Now I need to ask you a favor?" Katie's mom looks puzzled at Amy because she doesn't know what favor Amy wants to ask her. This is when Amy says to me and my mom, "I want to be there when she has her surgeries. I will also help her with her feminine voice, not that it doesn't pass now, but we want to make sure she doesn't slip at all. We want her to use her feminine voice all the time." I don't ever want to hear an invoice from you, Katie. "Do you understand me?" Amy says to her. Katie responds yes in her feminine tone voice. Amy says good. "We will work on this because it will be your voice from now on." This is when Katie's mom says, "I guess that's up to Katie if you can come or not." Katie looks at Amy and says, "I would be honored and blessed and grateful and thankful for all that you do. For me, to have you there for my surgeries to be supportive of me, But I want this be kept between you and me, and no one else needs to know. Not your mom, not your dad, not your brother, not your sister. Only you and my mom will know about this because this has to remain a secret, Amy says to me and to my mother. I swear to you on my grandmother's grave, and I will never reveal your secret or what we discussed here today to anyone. After saying this, Mom embraces not only Katie, but also Amy, because she is going to help her daughter and she's going to keep her secret so her daughter will never face any kind of harassment in society from anybody, including classmates or teachers, principals, or anyone else. With all that said is when Katie's mom says, "Okay, let's see what you got." This is when Katie starts going through her bags and shows Mom and Amy everything that she bought. And of course, both Mom and Amy have to see Katie model her new clothes. But before she does that, Mom calls for Susan, who is upstairs and doesn't know what's going on right now. Mom calls for Susan to come to the living room. As Susan walks into the living room, she sees two women standing with Mom. At first, she doesn't recognize who the one girl is, but she recognizes Amy right away from school. This is when Susan asked our mother, Mom, "Who is this other lady?" Mom just smiles and grins. "You don't recognize your own sister?" Susan says, "Oh my God, no, it can't be." This is when Mom says, "Yes, this is your sister, Katie. She has come from your dad, and John has gone to live with your dad. And this is what I want you to tell everyone when they ask about her." Mom says, "Oh wow, I have a new sister." This is when Susan embraces Katie. "I'm going to love you, my beautiful sister." This is when my mom says to Susan, "Amy has agreed to work with your sister over the next 2 weeks to get her ready for school. Because when she goes to school, I want her to behave in every way as a teenage girl would behave, except to not get into trouble. Do we not want that to happen?" This is when Susan says to Mom, "I will gladly teach my sister how to be a girl." In every way possible, this is our mom says to Susan and Amy, "I can't thank you enough for taking her under your wings and teaching her everything that my daughter needs to know, and I need to teach her everything she needs to know about her menstrual cycle. How often does it come to what symptoms she will have? She already keeps tampons in her purse. She knows about that, but I want you to teach her everything about having a menstrual cycle. That way she knows how to act and behave at certain times of the month. She needs to learn this, and I really need you girls to make sure that she understands this. We can't have any mistakes and must be taught to work with her too. It's not going to be you two working on her, but I also have to work. So I will be depending on you girls, helping my new daughter. She has a girl everywhere. There can't be one slip up ever here." Any comments that are not kind to my daughter? This is when Amy and Susan speak at the same time and say, "Do not worry. She will learn everything that a girl needs to know. And I know my friends accept her always being a girl because they trust me and nobody will ever know her secret," Amy says. This is when our mom says to Susan, "Nobody can ever know the truth about this. They have to stay in this house with all family members, and they have a problem with that. Then they will not be welcome in this house because no one is going to disrespect my children ever." Susan asked our mom, "But how is she going to be able to go to school as a girl? Doesn't her school record say that she's a boy?" This is when Mom says to Susan, "Tomorrow we are going to the courthouse while you are at school, and we are going to change her name and gender on her birth certificate." This is when Susan says to our mom, "You cannot let me miss this. I won't go to school. I want to go with you tomorrow." Our mom was not going to argue with Susan because she knew it would be a losing battle. Susan would just stay home and she would be upset the whole day because she wasn't able to go with us. This is when Katie speaks up and says, "Mom, I really want Susan to come with us because Katie knows how much Susan wants to come and she would never want to take away from her." This is when Susan embraces Katie and whispers in her ear, "Thank you." And this is when Katie whispers back to her, "I've got your back, just like you got mine." After embracing each other, this is when our mom says it's time for a fashion show. This is where Mom says, "You see, Katie went shopping and she's going to give us a fashion show." Now, that's why I called you down here. But I wanted to go over everything with you because it's so important to talk about all this. And I've already talked about this. This will be permanent. She will never go back to being her old self, and John will never come back from being with her father. And we will only have women in this house from now on. She understands that, and she has agreed that I trust my daughter at her word. I trust Amy's promise, and I trust your word that you will give me right now that this will remain a secret in this house. No one will ever know the truth, and it'll be up to Katie if she wants to tell anyone the truth. With this said, Susan agrees and says to our mom, absolutely, I would never want to embarrass her or make our family the biggest talk in this town because, believe me, this town will talk if they know. What about Miss our neighbor? Well, she's always suspected that Katie was a tomboy, and she didn't understand why she wanted to be a tomboy or like a boy, but she just went with it. She was hoping one day that she would come out of the space and be a proper girl just like Susan. So, I don't think Miss Danvers is going to be any problem or anyone else in the neighborhood believes in the story. And I don't think she needs to know that John went to live with his dad because she's always believed that Katie has been who she's been, but pretending to be a boy, even though she could tell there were too many things that said that she wasn't. And we've had this discussion before. So I don't think she'll think that she just came around and decided that she got tired of being a tomboy, and that's how we're going to leave it. Mom says again, Katie, I gotta see everything that you bought after Katie put on all of everything that she bought, including all of the lingerie because she's still wearing the dancer's gap. This is when Susan looks and says, oh my God, what happened to your male equipment? This is when Katie giggles and says, that is why I have this dancer gaff. Suppresses my male equipment to give it a more feminine look. You can't see any bulge whatsoever. This is when Susan learned something about a dancer gaff that she did not know. And she says, wow, so unless you take it off, nobody would really know that you're really not a girl. Katie says to Susan, that is the whole idea of the dancer's gaff. This is so amazing. So what about your top half? How do you have a woman's chest? This is when Katie explains that she has fake women's chest forms that she sticks into her bra to give her the appearance of a woman's chest. Susan says, I am learning a lot about you. What is the terminology? For this that you have, this is what you consider a preoperative transgender person, Katie says, and there is plenty. You can learn online, and I can even show you my file of my pictures that I have been taking for a while now if you would like to see them. Susan was so excited she started jumping up and down and said, you're kidding me. I have to see these pictures. Amy said, I see these pictures. Mom says you girls are gonna love these pictures. I'm gonna need your help. We gotta destroy every picture of John in this house, and the reason is, we don't need people to see that picture of him and then see Katie because it may be too familiar and someone might figure it out, and we don't need anyone to figure this out like you said. We travel fast in this neighborhood, and we do not want to be the talk of the neighborhood. This is when Katie speaks up and says, but how are we going to explain to John if we do that? We will say that his father wanted all of his pictures and we gave them to him. Satisfy anybody who asks the question. Our bigger problem is grandma, grandpa, your aunts, uncles, cousins, nieces, and others, when we tell them because we have to tell them. But if they do not agree that they will keep it a secret, they will not be in our lives. I will always choose my daughters over anyone. After the fashion show is over and Katie has shown everything that they have bought, Susan says, but that's not close for her. That's why Mom says that's why we're going shopping. Katie's gonna have her own wardrobe. She won't be borrowing your clothes anymore, and she won't be borrowing my clothes anymore. She will have her own clothes, and all of her clothes. We're going to pack up and give to a charity, someone else who might need them because Katie will never need them again. Amy says I need to get going, and I will see you tomorrow, Katie. We will begin training, and I will be like a drill sergeant. We will do it until you get it right, and I will not give up on you, and you will not quit because I won't let you quit after you get back from the courthouse. I will be coming here for you after school. And we will begin training, and that's when Susan speaks up. We're gonna start sooner than that. We're starting right now. As of this moment, you will act and behave like a girl. This is when our mom says, excellent, officially. Katie is officially Katie from now on, even though we have to go to the courthouse tomorrow. Katie and Susan, can you please set the kitchen table for dinner tonight? Katie, I know that I said you won't be borrowing my clothes anymore, but tonight you need a nightgown and I will let you borrow mine for tonight, only because tomorrow you're getting your own clothes. After they eat supper, Katie and Susan take care of the kitchen and clean up the house and gets ready for bed. And she sees the nightgown that her mom has laid on the bed for her, and she sees bags of her clothes ready to be taken out of the house. She knows that it's all of her other clothes that she used to have. She lays in bed. She thinks about everything that has happened for the day and everything that's going to happen soon. Before she falls asleep the next morning, she wakes up to the sunshine through the window. And Susan is the first one into her room and says, "Good morning, Katie. Now you need to get dressed because after we breakfast, we are going to the courthouse to do everything Mom has said that she needs to do, and she doesn't want you to say anything. While she's talking to the lady or gentleman at the courthouse about this, we want us to try to go as easy as possible without having to go before a judge. But Mom is prepared to do that if we have to do that." That gets up and she starts to get ready for the day. Goes into the kitchen and sits down by her sister Susan and begins eating breakfast as Mom is finishing up cleaning up the kitchen. We finished and we put our dishes in the dishwasher. This is what my mom says to "Okay, girls, it's time to get in the car. We gotta get going because I gotta get to the school once we get this done. Remember Katie, remember Susan, when I am talking to this person? You cannot speak up unless they ask you to talk to them. We need to go as smooth as possible." We all get in the car and begin driving to the courthouse. We walk to the courthouse and go through security, and we head towards the district clerk's office arrival at the office window. My mom says to the park, we need to make a change to a birth record, and the name of her child that was born, and the reason why they gave her that name was because of her dad, even though that's not the truth. But that's what she tells the lady at the window. The lady pulls up the record. And she asked, "Our mom. Okay, what is her name?" "Katie Ann Birtles." This is when the lady types in this information. And she goes back in the back to get the new birth certificate. Then she says to our mom, "That'll be $25, please, ma'am." Mom gives her the money. And the lady asks you if you need a receipt. Mom says, "Yes, ma'am, please." Now, me and Susan are really trying to keep how excited we are inside us without showing it. After my mom gets her receipt and puts it in her purse and we slowly walk away from the window, when the lady can see us, me and Susan begin skipping all the way back to the car because we are happy we can't believe that just happened and it's now official. I have a new sister and my mom has a new daughter, Susan says as we get into the car. This is when our mom takes us back to the house because Susan is playing hooky from school. She didn't go to school today. And she's going to give her daughter an excuse tomorrow to take to school to explain why she missed the appointment that she had to go to today. This is when we pull into the driveway, and Mom tells us, "I want you to wait until I get back, and then we are going shopping for your clothes." My mom drives to the school, and she goes to the principal's office and begins talking to them about everything that John will be living with his dad. Her other daughter will be coming to school here since she has the birth certificate. The changes are made to the school records, Katie. Attend school in 2 weeks. With this done, our mom leaves the school and goes back home. Me and Susan have prepared a couple salads. For me, Susan, and Mom, because we don't want to go to the store when we are hungry. I'm not saying we can't eat when we are out, but our main objective is to get the clothes, to get them all in the closet, and make sure that we did not miss anything that was John. That everything of his is gone because Mom will be taking it to work with her and drop it off at the charity place after work. After they get everything in Katie's room hung up in her closet and in her drawers, Mom goes downstairs and starts to prepare supper. While my mom is preparing dinner, I am in my room and Susan is in my room and we are talking. This is when we hear someone ring the doorbell. My mom goes and answers the door and sees it's our dad. This is when he confronts our mom and says, "What is going on?" "I just got notification that you changed the birth record of our child." "Why did you do that?" Demand an answer from her. This is when my mom says, "You walked out of this house. You have no say in this house." That's when our dad calls out, "John, Susan, come here now." That's when me and Susan walk towards the front door and he said to our mom, "What is going on? Why is my son wearing girls' clothes?" This is when my mom corrects him and says, "No, this is your daughter, and you will respect her as your daughter." This is when our dad says, "I will not have a child of mine wearing women's clothes when he is a boy." This is when Katie speaks up and says, "No, Dad. I am Katie. I am your daughter. I'm no longer your son." With that said, Katie runs back to her bedroom. Follow her. And this is when our mom says to our dad, "It's better to have a live daughter than a dead son. Either you accept this or you will not be a part of this family. You will never see your daughter ever again. After this day, I will make sure of it." This is when our dad comes to Katie's bedroom and says, "I don't understand all of this, but I don't want to lose contact with you. I don't approve of this, but I have to know. Is this what you really want?" That's when Katie says to our dad, "Yes, Dad, I am Katie. I am your daughter. I will always be your daughter from now on. This is my decision. My choice. Mom did not force me to do this. This is of my own will and my own accord. And if you're going to be in my life, you can't ever tell anyone who John was as far as you're concerned. He lives with you where you live, but you will never live in this town. They will never see John because John does not exist anymore, and if you can't make this promise, I will tell Mom that I don't want you in my life, and she will make sure that happens. With that said, our dad agrees to terms and decides to get to know his daughter. This is when our mom comes back into Katie's room and says, "I hope everything has been worked out because what I said to you, I will make it happen. Don't make me choose between my daughter and you because you always lose." This is when our dad says, "No, I accept her as my daughter and as Katie." That's when my mom says to our dad, "I wasn't planning on having an extra person for dinner tonight, but you are welcome to stay for supper only after that. I want you to go. And we will arrange time to spend with your new daughter because we are legally divorced now, and I don't love you anymore. I'm not going to stop you from seeing your children, but I don't want to be here when you do. I want you to take them with you to the restaurant or shopping or movies or anything like that, but I will not be going with you. Our relationship is over, and I'm only giving you dinner tonight because it's a lot for you to take and you have agreed to be a father to your daughter." Our dad agrees to this, and after we eat supper, he says goodbye to us and he leaves. I have not seen him for over 2 weeks because my mom makes sure that I learn everything that I need to learn before I have to go to school. Amy and Susan have taught me everything, and Amy has introduced me to her friends at school, and they accept me as just one of the girls. I have always been a girl. The school has a note saying my daughter cannot go to gym class. Everything goes as normal. Mom has already set up appointments with the psychiatrist for a time now. It's been going on, and the psychiatrist is now ready to recommend me for my surgeries. The psychiatrist wants to begin with the upper half of my body to make sure this process goes according to requirements. I know that I want both surgeries, but I know that I have to take one surgery at a time. I'm pretty sure the reason they process this because they want to make sure that I'm happy with this decision and I can undo anything before it's too late of doing the bottom half surgery, because once the bottom half surgery is completed, there is no going back. And I made that promise to my mom, and I will not break that promise. I will be Katie for the rest of my life. About 3 months after my upper half is done, and I now have a woman's chest that is officially mine now. My psychiatrist can see the joy on my face, and she is ready to process the next part of my surgery, which will be in 3 months. I really don't want to wait 3 months, but again, I have to follow the regulations rules for this, so the surgeon will do the surgery without asking too many questions from the psychiatrist. Before I know it, 3 months have passed, and I am getting my bottom half surgery done, and yes, Amy is there for both surgeries as promised by me. And the 3 months is the end of the school year, and both me and Amy have graduated from our school. On the day of my surgery for my bottom half, Amy whispers to me, "I will see you when you come out. I will be here for you, and your mom will be here, and Susan will be here, and I am so happy for you." With that, the nurse comes in the room with a gurney. I get on the gurney and I am wheeled into the operating room where the surgeon works on me for 4 hours. After that, I am returned back to my room, and when I wake up, I see my mom with tears in her eyes because she's noticed I'm starting to wake up. And Mom runs over to me and embraces me, and Susan comes over and Amy comes over and they are all hugging me. And how do you feel? I am a little bit exhausted. I'm not feeling any pain at all or discomfort, but I don't know. I'm gonna go to the bathroom. That's when they all start giggling. "You're so silly. They said you have a catheter, so you don't have to worry about it." I only had that catheter in 1 day before the nurse removed it, because she said I needed to get up and start walking around because we can't have any blood clots happen. This is when I get up and I start walking around with my IV machine, and before I know it, I'm walking up and down the hall without my IV machine, and my mom, sister, and Amy are all walking with me. 2 weeks have passed, and I have completely healed. Now I need to be shown how to properly dilate, and I was informed by the surgeon that I will have to do this until my gynecologist tells me that I don't need to do it anymore if I want to have any depth. After the surgeon shows me the proper way to do this. The first time the surgeon comes in the second time, and I have to show her that I know how to do this dilation process after I show her. I know how to do this process. We are released from the hospital and we go back home. It wasn't long after we got home that Amy said that she had an announcement for us. I have no idea what Amy has to say. I'm hoping that both of us get the same job and we can work out the same place, but I have no idea what she's going to say. And I am totally surprised, and so is my mom and Susan when she says it. She takes me by the hand and she gets on my knee and she says, I've known you for a long time now. I know your secret, and I believe this is our answer that we need to do. So we can keep your secret till nobody will ever know I ask you to be my wife, Katie Ann Birtles. Will you marry me? I need to say to Amy, I would love to be your wife. My mom and Susan embrace us and say, awesome. I now have a daughter-in-law. And my sister says now I have a sister-in-law, and I plan a bridal shower for my sister and my sister-in-law. I think this will be the first one I've ever gone to or planned for Mom. I'm gonna need your help, Susan says to our mom. Amy and Amy plan to get married within 6 months. We have our bridal shower and everything goes well, and everyone that comes to the bridal shower has accepted Katie, and they are so happy that Katie is getting married to a wonderful lady, and they are not judgmental because it's a lesbian relationship. They don't have a problem with this. During this time, both Amy and Katie work at the same company as secretaries, and nobody knows Katie, and Katie will never say anything, and neither will Amy. Also, during this time, Katie gets to know her father, who has come around to accept her as Katie, but was not at the wedding, and that was because Katie did not trust him to get drunk. That is why he was not invited. Also, her mom asked her not to invite him, and for her mom, she would do anything because her mom has given her the greatest gift ever. She has been there. Not only gender change on her birth certificate, but she has been there through all of my surgeries. Years have passed, and Amy and Katie have adopted 2 girl babies. My mom, or should I say our mom, because Amy is now the daughter-in-law until she passes away. We have a wonderful time while she is alive. Our children grow up and become successful in their lives, and they get married to wonderful husbands and have no problem with me and Amy having a lesbian relationship, and they have their own, and we become grandmas to their children. Nobody ever hears us ever talk about John again. After the day that Amy proposed to me, even when our dad came for a visit, there was no mention of John, so nobody knew what happened to John. He just faded away like he never existed, and he kinda didn't. Me and Amy passed away 6 months apart from each other, and we would be buried side by side in the graveyard, and no one would ever know my secret.